Derek, why should people, hey, thanks for addressing me. Why should people listen to this episode of Pod Friends featuring you?
I mean, if you're this far in, if you've already clicked play, I mean, you probably know who I am, or you've heard my name, and you're like, "Who is this crazy weird clown guy? Who is this interesting fool that everyone is talking about, or that I've never heard about?" You should listen because either you are already obsessed with RHAP and you want to know more of the lore, you want to know where I came from, you want to know more about community, how to get involved in RHAP. I'm assuming that's probably why you're here. Or you're just a fan of Matt and you're a fan of our community, you're a fan of this podcast, you're a fan of what RHAP is doing, and you get to learn a little bit more about the inside workings of what's going on behind the scenes, and learn a bit more about me and where I come from, and what life is like as a actor, writer, director who's trying to make it through this crazy life that we're in. And how can we do this in a kind, compassionate, empowering, fun, memorable way? How's that? Is that a good
answer?
That.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And we also have so many different videos, questions, shout outs to Derek along the way. This is obviously recorded after Derek's seen most of them, except you haven't seen this one, Derek. Here's one more from Grace Leader. Check it out.
Hello. Matt asked me to talk about Derek, and I said yes immediately. I would love to talk about Derek. Derek is a lovely human being. Derek has an energy and a passion and just a vibrant personality that I adore and love so much. I've loved getting to work with Derek on many different things, including like doing some games for RHAP patrons and just tons of stuff. And I just think his brain is so incredible and amazing. And I just think he's a lovely human being who has these big, grand ideas about very fun things that I think comes through in lots of the things he does, and I hope comes through in the conversation that he's about to have with Matt for Pod Friends. So I love Derek very much, and yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Oh, I love Grace.
I love Grace. I love you, Derek. And
I love you too.
I'm so excited. Thank you.
And I love everyone who's listening to this. I love you too.
Okay, now let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pod Friends. My name is Matt Scott. I'm your host, and that song, of course, was Pod Friends by Will from America. And if you want to skip ahead to the episode, just skip ahead about 3 minutes where my interview conversation with Derek gets started. This week's episode is a very special episode because it's not only about this week's guest, Derek Stusynski, but it's also about community. It's all about the community. And throughout, you've already heard one of them, but you'll hear so many more community voices along the way, not only talking about Derek and what he's meant to them, but what this experience of being part of RHAP, being part of the community, being a patron means to them. And so I just paused because this community means the world to me, and I've talked about it before on so many levels. I became a listener of RHAP right around the time in 2017 when my dad passed away. And over the last 5 years, half decade, I've been really thankful to be able to plug into RHAP as a podcaster, not only talking about shows like Big Brother and others, but really also with The Pride Has Spoken and this show, Pod Friends. And the word that I've always used to describe this is community, because that's what I felt like it is. And community, especially in today's world with all sorts of heaviness and everything else, is everything. It's what we need to know that we're not alone. It's what we need to navigate all sorts of challenges and ups and downs. It's what we need to, like Derek, create the incredible, badass things that he's created in his life, in his career prior to RHAP, within RHAP, and I'm sure far, far after RHAP at some point. So this is a special episode. I'm so thankful to all of the patrons and community members who participated and shared videos. Just like my season premiere episode with Shannon and Peter, I highly recommend watching this one on the Rob is a Podcast YouTube and subscribing there along the way. And if you're not already a patron of RHAP, become a patron. I plug this at the start of the season premiere, but I'll also just mention that we have live shows coming up at RHAP in LA in March, in Toronto in April, in New York City in May, right around my birthday. And I hope to be at a bunch of those. I hope to see you there. And I just want to thank you all for being incredible pod friends. Reach out if there are folks that you want to see as guests. There are so many episodes left to record for this season in the Survivor off season. And without further ado, let me introduce our guest. Making his way to the podcast, hailing from Los Angeles, California, he is a Minnesota-born writer, actor, and podcast producer, known in part for his work on Nice Girls Don't Win with Parvati and Amy Bean, and even more as the patron experience manager and podcast producer here at Rob as a Podcast. He is a former reality TV contestant in his own right, an improv expert and alum of the Upright Citizens Brigade, and creator of the upcoming film Snatched. Please welcome your pod friend and mine, Derek Stusynski.
Yeah.
Do you have any secrets or stories that you want to share, Derek, now that we're here? This is your time. I'm not going to say anything for the next hour and a half.
All right. Welcome to Pod Friends. This is Derek, and I'm going to be here just talking to myself about myself. Matt said he's going to be quiet for the next hour, and so I guess I'm just here solo talking about me and my life and where I'm from. Matt, I don't know where to start. I have a very interesting life, a self-proclaimed interesting life.
Okay. The self-awareness.
I don't know. Like I
started talking. No, Derek, stop talking. Stop talking. I don't want you to take my job. And I just got really self-conscious. So I'm going to jump in now.
No,
Thank you for being here on Pod Friends. I'm really excited. Because you have been someone who has come up in conversation multiple times over the last few years as a guest on Pod Friends. But I feel like this is the perfect time to have you on Pod Friends. You have your upcoming film Snatched, which I just want to talk about at the top of it. Like,
yeah,
I want to hear it from. Is that the same shirt you're wearing in the trailer video, by the way?
This is my favorite shirt. I specifically wore it today. Yes, I wore this shirt in the trailer. I'm not someone who wears a different shirt for all occasions. I would wear this shirt every day. I want copies of it. Orange is my color. I like the texture. You know, it's orange, but it's got some texture. It's got some black. It's got some darkness. It's not just orange, you know?
Oh my gosh. I thought it was brown. I'm in orange and yellow are my colors too. I feel like you're trying to take my gig. I don't love it.
No,
I don't.
I could never take your gig. You're too good at what you do.
You literally could. Like, all you need to do is text Rob Sesternino, and I'm out of here, Derek. Like, you're the best kept secret in RHAP. So I'm just saying.
And the secret's out.
Wait, tell me about Snatched. Speaking of secrets, I feel like there's a lot of secrets around Snatched because we haven't seen it out in the world. But like, what have you been up to with that? Because I feel like I know very little. about it. The listeners might not know
Yeah,
anything about it, but
it's
like,
fair.
what is Snatched? And I'm not referring to
Yeah,
the movie featuring Amy Schumer from
correct.
2016.
Yes, not the Amy
That's a
Schumer
different one.
movie.
No.
Yeah, for people who don't know, I mean, I'll give you like a little quick, just like how I got here bullet point list. Maybe it'll help. So,
Wait,
like,
yeah,
what?
go. Is this like you're going through your whole backstory right now?
No, I'm just gonna give you a bullet points.
Give me the bullet
because
points. We're
because
gonna
as
go
you
way
said,
back,
like
Derek.
I've been a bit of a wallflower for many years within the RGP community. Um, I graduated from high school in Minnesota from a very small town of 800 people. There was 24 kids in my graduating class. Then I moved to New York 2 months later to be an actor, to study film. I went to a 2-year conservatory. I graduated, and then I just hit the ground running. I started auditioning. I interned at a casting office. I worked for the Food Network. I moved to LA 14 years ago, and I've been here pursuing acting, filming. I've produced, I've directed, I've written. Well, I mean, this is the first like official directing thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
But Snatched is
Mhm.
a concept I came up with a couple of years ago. And I'm much better at being the idea guy. Execution and following through on the ideas is where I struggle. But I'm sort of coming out of a little bit of a hiatus of like 2020 COVID hit. The industry
Yeah.
kind of shut down. I took a little bit of a break from the hustle of LA to work on some writing projects, to travel, to enjoy life, because when you're trying to be an actor in Los Angeles, you
Mm,
have this pressure to always match your headshots. So don't change your hair, don't color your hair, don't cut your hair. You always have to make sure you're clean shaven so that you match your headshots, and that for auditions, and I have sensitive skin. I don't like shaving.
mm, yeah.
You have to be in town, because the second you leave town, you get an audition for a big project that could change your life. And so I had been in LA for a good 10 years. COVID hit, the industry shut down. And I said, you know what? I'm going to color my hair. I'm going to go travel the world. I visited like 7 countries in 2 years, gone from having never really been outside of the US, Canada, Mexico. And yeah, and then a couple of years ago, I said, okay, it's time to return to the industry. I came out here to make movies. Let's write a project, and I had a lot of ideas. And this was also coming off of like having just started watching Drag Race for the first time. And I binged
Mm,
all of the seasons during COVID. I started going to drag shows. I met some drag queens. And I think that a lot of my life I had sort of like been taught that drag is bad, drag is
mm,
dirty, drag is wrong, drag is sinful. And I think that there's a part of me that came from a small Christian town, moving to New York, going, I'm not going to be one of those people that lets the world change me. Like I'm gonna keep true to my Christian values. And I want to make my family and my hometown proud. So, if I start watching Drag Race and getting involved with the LGBTQ community, like, how is that going to make me look to like my Christian people back home? I was very concerned about how I would be perceived. And I think that thought really um, haunted like my entire 20s,
mm,
of like, who am I and how am I perceived, and who am I disappointing, and how can I make the right people proud of me?
yeah.
And so I think coming out of COVID in 2020 and sort of like emerging as this new version of myself that has grown beyond what I was taught growing up, is that I felt like I in a way owed it to the drag community to collaborate with them, to lift them up, to try to tell stories with them. And so I had this image in my head one night of a very specific scene. The first image I had in my head for this film is something I can't really talk about, because it's kind of sort of like the big twist reveal that happens at the end of the film.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, secrets.
I know. So that's the secret I can't talk about. But what that sort of became is, as a 90s kid, as someone who grew up just loving movies, and a lot of Jim Carrey stuff, like The Mask was something that really sort of like stuck to my head about like, well, what if The Mask was a wig, and instead of, a character who becomes magical by wearing a mask, what if it's a wig that turns this person into this sort of like mystical, magical, vigilante, kick-ass drag queen character?
Oh my.
and then what's the story around that? And so Snatched is a short film. The goal eventually will be to make a feature. And yeah, I went through a month of fundraising after like 2 years of writing and rewriting and trying to figure out who are my friends that can help me produce this. Like, who do I know to help me actually make something happen? And yeah, we hit the ground running. We raised all the money we needed to raise. The RHAP community was incredibly helpful and supportive. And thank you to everyone who's listening, who donated to that, to my project. And if you didn't know about it, or if you just shared it, like, I'm so eternally grateful. We are moving forward very fast. We are shooting in 3 weeks. It's a little horror. It's a little comedy. It's drag, and it's fun, and it's campy, and it's going to be a little bloody. And that's what I love.
Wow. What a way to lead up to that. And I don't know if you just said this, but who are some of the queens that are involved with this project?
Yeah. So there was a character I originally wrote, and I pictured Nina West in my mind. And this was right before Drag All Stars had come out. And then Nina West was on Drag All Stars. And my friend was like, oh, I know her manager. Let's send her the script. Let's see what she says. And we sent the script, and she loved it. And so yeah, we were able to get Nina West on board very early on. And Nina is such an advocate. Like, I met her at her like the drag Christmas holiday tour they were doing for their drag show. And just what a lovely, incredibly kind, supportive person. She was just so grateful. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Thank you for bringing me onto this project. I think it's so wonderful, and like what you're doing. And like, everything I've heard about her is 100% true. And I'm very excited to work with her. And then we have a couple of local LA drag queens that I have known for a few years. One named KBBQ, and the other is my Leaky Faucet. And yeah, so they're my local queens. And like, would it have been super fun to cast 3 like famous drag queens in my short? Sure. We didn't have the funding for that, but I think it's important to also support people who are up and coming artists like myself. So I've always sort of thought, like, I don't ever want to be that person that's like, let's cast 12 celebrities in my project. It's like, no, let's get the project made, and let's support people who are, great artists who are not famous, and, might need a little boost of money and support and notoriety. And this is a little bit like of a Kickstarter for all of us to hopefully move into the next phase of our careers.
This is thrilling. Like, Derek, you just laid out like so much about yourself, about your life. We're gonna go back through.
I need a breath. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, take a breath. Take a breath. I feel like, honestly, and like sometimes with pod friends, but even with the interviewing I do for work, which, like, because people sometimes are like, Matt, what do you do for work outside this? Like, I work at a climate change solutions nonprofit, and I do like docuseries work and other things like that, including interviewing people in LA earlier this year for a project. And oftentimes, like, I'll ask the question, like, who are you, as my very first question, which is a very overwhelming one. And sometimes that will turn into like a 5-minute, like, here's my entire life story thing. But there's like so much there to get back into, and we'll go there. But I really love and appreciate your love of drag. I have that love of drag too. And like right now, as we're recording this, as this is being released, RuPaul's Drag Race is out with a new season. And of course, in our RHAP community, we're talking about so many things, so many shows, not as much about Traitors. Forget about Traitors. No one cares about that anymore. No one we know was just on there. But Survivor 50 is coming up. And so, Derek, as I warned you about, to give a peek behind the curtain, I want to do a little bit of a game before we dive like deeper into your story.
Great.
And that game, I realized I did not come up with a name for my game, but let's call it the Pod Friends Games. It's the Pod Friends Games. And I want to do a little bit of a game. Let me pull up my graphic here for those who aren't watching. Watch the video version.
Yes.
Just want you to appreciate my graphic, me as RuPaul as the host. But Survivor 50 is coming up. Drag's a big topic of this conversation already. We already spoke about Nina West. Derek, I want to know from you, as a drag fan, as someone who's even amplifying drag through Snatched, I want to talk about who from Survivor 50 we feel like would be really great on RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't know if that's as a performer. I don't know if that's as a judge, but I want to break it down, Derek. Do you feel ready for this? And by the way, Nina West
Yeah.
in this graphic is there in the background supporting you.
Yeah, this is fantastic. I love the graphic. Great work, Matt. I was like, okay, I got to pull up the cast list because I got to remember everyone who's on this cast, and I didn't. You got everything ready for me.
They're all there. They're all there. Yes. So I don't know. I am curious. Like, do you see the crossover? Do you see the vibes? We don't talk nearly enough about the drag Survivor crossover, but you've got it. I'll let you
there
cook.
should be way more crossover. There's like put Monet on Survivor. She wants to do it. She would be great.
Yeah.
You know, not pictured here, but you know, honorable shout out. Parvati needs to be a judge on Drag Race. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
This needs to happen.
Please.
You want me to cast 5 queens to be contestants on the show?
5. I want you to cast 5 contestants from Survivor 50 to be queens on RuPaul's Drag Race. Yes.
Okay, so I think that the like the difficult thing about this is none of them have done drag as far as I'm aware. So I think I have to look at this under the sense of, okay, it's the final 5, and it is the episode where they bring in 5 guests and they have to do a makeover with these 5 Survivor contestants. So now I'm picking which 5 Survivor contestants do I think I would like to see and that would shine in this like makeover competition. Okay. So for my first pick, I'm going to go with Charlie. Because I think Charlie, as a Taylor Swift fan, I think that would come up with some sort of like Taylor, and I'm a Swiftie. So I think he would be very game. I think he would have a Swiftie style drag persona that like his coach would probably try to help him. Like, okay, what's your drag name? And we'll make you blonde and you'll be a pretty pop star. Okay.
Yes.
I think next we have to go with Q because Q is a queen.
I feel that.
Very dramatic. I think Q would really step into the role. I think Q would be full of drama. I think Q would want to make drama happen. And I think that when Q puts that wig on and gets into that persona, I think we're getting a spicy queen who's ready to throw down.
And by the way, he already in his 46 cast photo, like he's ready. He's like oiled up. He's a performer, a queen, like you said. I love that.
He really is.
Oh, keep going. You're cooking.
Yeah. Okay. So I think next we go Christian.
Okay.
And I think Christian would be a great judge.
Sorry, Christian.
But we're looking at contestants.
Yes.
I think that you want 5 people that are different. And I think you want someone, there's always that person that like, maybe at first you look at the line and you look at, oh, this person's very outgoing. This person's already very like, has like beautiful structure, or like they're already very dramatic, like Q, where like the character is there. And then I think sometimes you have sort of like the underdog where everyone goes, oh, you may not want to pick that person. They may not be able to walk in heels.
Not too much, Derek. Christian has beautiful bone structure.
Oh, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I think that like,
and
I think Christian is a dark horse underdog who you put him in drag and he transforms. And suddenly we're looking at like, you win the competition because you were able to like create a star from maybe someone who people didn't think initially would be able to step into that role. But I think Christian would be great. And he's Christian. Like, who doesn't want to see Christian on Drag Race?
I'm with you on that. Maybe Christian doesn't want to see Christian on Drag Race, but we'll have to ask him.
All right. So we got 2 spots left.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, I'm only going to be picking dudes for this. I think put Angelina on the judges
honorable
panel.
Mention. Oh
yeah.
I was going to ask you about the judges panel. Angelina's great for the judges panel for sure.
I think Angelina's on the judging panel. I think Sari is on the judging panel. I think Aubrey, Genevieve, Emily all would be great on the judging panel. Next to Parvati, of course. All right, we got 2 spots left.
Yes.
I am next going to go for, there's always that person who is like the big, muscular, masculine jock that no one can picture in drag. And I think that for that one spot, I'm looking at probably either Jonathan or Joe.
Yeah.
And
tough choice.
It's a tough choice, but I'm going to go for Joe.
I'm with you. I feel
Because
like
I
we've
think
actually seen like the Joe type on Drag Race in this
we have.
exact type of challenge.
Yes.
Like firefighter type of guy or
Mhm.
firefighter looking type of guys.
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah,
But what's your
he's
reasoning?
gonna come through with like some heartfelt story. He's gonna create an emotional connection with the person that's making him over. They're probably gonna cry. We're gonna, hear about his sister. We're gonna hear, it's
Mhm.
gonna be a moment where we go, oh, I'm rooting for him. I love him. Right.
Yes,
And he's gonna struggle walking in heels, and then he's gonna surprise everyone.
he will struggle walking in heels, from what
Yeah.
I guessed. But Challenge Beast, maybe he does have the balance for it. Um,
Yeah.
who is your fifth and final pick
I
to
think that
be
there's
a Drag Race queen?
I think there's a few good picks left. I think one might think like, oh, Ozzy is a big name. He's got the hair. He is you know, I think he's at this point pretty open about his fluidity. Um
Hmm.
I think Rick would be really fun because he's a big personality. But I think what this group is missing is the LGBTQ representation. And I think that Mike White, I think, will
Yes.
be able to connect to the queens in a way that like none of these other guys can. So I think that you have to put Mike White in there for that fifth spot.
I'm all for that for so many reasons. I mean, again, I don't know where to begin. Like, are we gonna get a White Light? Like, I can't even say it. White Lotus
Mhm.
crossover?
Yeah,
Maybe. I don't know.
yeah,
I would love to see all
for
of
sure.
these, and all of the Drag Race queens on White Lotus at some point. But I could
Yeah, make it
also,
happen.
I can't picture him in heels. That's the biggest thing. I don't know how his balance
They
is.
might have to give him some smaller heels, right?
A kitten heel, just like a little tiny.
Be like, oh, we'll
Is
do a
it a
bedroom
heel?
look. We'll do a bedroom look and give you some fuzzy slippers.
Maybe a ballet flat would be nice. I like this. I like this group of people. This is really solid. And you're right. Like, I feel like the conversation about Parvati as a judge has come up for sure.
Mhm.
But Derek, you definitely didn't miss with this lineup of folks.
Yeah, I think
Charlie,
I think
Q,
you could switch out Rizzo
Christian.
and Charlie. I think they're kind of a similar kind of
Yes.
archetype. Like I said, I think Rick would be great in there. Kyle would, I think a lot of these guys would be great, but I think those are my five. I stand by them.
So who wins the challenge?
Um,
That's the real question.
uh, I think that I mean, a lot of it comes down to who they get paired with and how they decide to do the judging that day, But the winner is probably going to be
Drum roll,
mm,
please. The
the drum
tension. It's
roll.
real.
You're asking someone who's
It's
very
huge.
indecisive, but
Okay.
we're gonna say the winner is Underdog Christian.
Wow, Christian. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh, this is
Hmm.
exciting. Go, Christian.
Yep.
I'm so happy for
Yeah.
you. That's
Yeah.
so cool. Look at
I can't not
him.
pick him.
Oh, what a winner. Oh my gosh.
Hmm.
We'll
Hmm.
see how this pans out for 50. Thank you for
Yep.
indulging in my
And then
random game here. Wait, is
and
there a
then in the
runner up?
no, I was just gonna say we get online. We get Q challenging Christian to a pickleball match, of course.
And Q winning, of
Saying
course.
I should have won. We'll play in drag and we'll see who wins.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have dreams and or nightmares about this tonight. This is so
Dreams,
beautiful. Dreams, hopefully dreams. Hopefully dreams.
dreams from Survivor. Was it for Survivor
Yeah,
Keep?
dreams heard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bring him back. Look, Derek, such a special episode. That was cute. That was fun. We did a
good
thing.
time. It was a good
Good
time.
time. But I want to get back into your story, all the things.
Yeah, what do you
And
want to know, Matt?
okay, well, it's not even just about me, Derek. I'm all really big on the visuals this week. This also
Mhm.
will work for audio, but I actually have a video to play from somebody. So I know
Oh,
you didn't expect this at all, but are you
I'm
ready?
loving. I'm very excited.
Okay. Well, I want to get a little bit more into your backstory, but
Okay.
let's just start out with this video from a friend. Let's see what they have to say.
Hi, Derek. Chantel here. And I just wanted to let you know that it has been an absolute joy getting to know you and being able to call you my friend here at Rob Has a Podcast and outside of the reality TV world. Definitely when we first met, we became fast friends, and you're always someone that I was super excited to see at any of these live events because you're so good at bringing people together, creating community, bringing the podcasters with any of the patrons. Like, you just merge us together and just make us all feel like home, feel like we're within a family. And I know that we were meant to be friends because, I have a lot of coincidences and synchronicities that happen in my life. And as you know, I recently had a synchronicity about you where I had met a friend of a friend who was in a show, a musical that was showing in Toronto. And we were talking after, and he was mentioning where he lived. He said that he lives in a small town in outside of Minnesota near the Canadian border. And I'm like, I only know one person that lives in that kind of area. And he's like, well, tell me who it is. I might know them. I'm like, you're not going to know. There's one person that I know that lives in a similar area to you. And I told him your name. And he, in fact, did know you because you made such an impact that he remembered you from high school days. And so out of all the people that I know that live in Minnesota, not very many. And the one person I met that was in a musical in Toronto happened to know you and remembered you from high school because you're that memorable. And when I hear the word coincidence, I don't think of it as random. I think of it as coinciding, 2 points meeting at an exact moment. And so I just think that this was a coincidence, but it was just us meeting at a perfect moment because we were meant to be friends. So I'm so happy to have met you, and I wish you the best in 2026.
I love that. I love Chantel.
I love Chantel so much, former Pod Friends, guest, of course. If folks go to the live shows and live events, of course, they'll meet Chantel. But she brings up where you grew up, your upbringing a bit. You touched on that a little bit at the beginning, but Derek, tell me more about this, about like young Derek, which could be its own show. Where did you grow up? Like, what was it like? All of the things, because I'm really curious about that. The Minnesota foundations of Derek, the one and only Derek.
Yeah, Minnesota been in the news a lot lately.
Yeah.
But
great.
For better for worse. I grew up in the northwest corner, about as far away from the state of Minnesota as you can get. Like land of 10,000 lakes. We were just really in the middle of nowhere. Half an hour from the North Dakota border, or a half an hour from the Canada border, north of Fargo, if you can believe that. And yeah, my dad's a farmer. He had been farming his whole life since he was a kid. We live, across the field, like a half a mile from where he grew up on the farm. So, we lived 8 miles out of town on a dirt road surrounded by fields and trees. And I grew up playing outside. I grew up playing in the woods. We had to be imaginative and, before phones and cell phones, not phones, but like cell phones and internet and stuff. I was a 90s kid. So I was very creative growing up. I started writing books when I was 12 years. Books. I say books. I wrote my first book when I was 12 years old because I was a fairly good student. I would finish my homework early, and then rather than being disruptive, I would sit and write stories.
What was this book?
It was shortly after I read Harry Potter. I was like, oh, that's so cool. I want to write a story like that. So, my book was sort of like, oh, what if dreams existed? What if everything we dreamed was real, but it was like we were seeing into like almost like an alternate reality, an alternate dimension. And so the story follows these kids who are kind of pulled into this world. And then they're sort of like back and forth between the real world and this dream world, and the two worlds start to sort of bleed into one another. And so they're like trying to figure out how to stop this, what's happening to them. And so that was a lot of my early creative juices came from writing stories. I joined the drama club in around that time. I was cast in my first play as a 6th grader, cast in the high school play because we were such a small school that, you know, like our drama club was 7th through 12th.
Yeah.
And we auditioned in the spring. So I auditioned as a 6th grader for the high school play. I was the only 6th, 7th grade kid cast. And it was very intimidating.
What play was it?
It was called...
Because I first did I was in my first musical. I can't remember if it was like How to Eat Like a Child, and then there was Your Good Man, Charlie Brown, and then there was me as Jesus in Godspell Jr., even though I definitely was not Catholic at that Catholic school. But what were you in?
I don't remember the name of the play right now, but it was like it was a murder mystery. It was like a comedy murder mystery, and I played
see a theme.
I played like a lawyer. Of like the family lawyer who comes over to help like figure out and solve this murder and, you know, deal with the will and all of this stuff. And then, you know, I was like this little scrawny 7th grader wearing this like big oversized like suit jacket, walking around with like all these like seniors that are like 2 feet taller than me. And I'm like supposed to be this lawyer character, but turns out I was the murderer.
What? They shouldn't have
Spoiler
trusted
alert.
you from the beginning.
I know, I have innocent sweet face, but yeah, that was like the beginning of my really creative career. And I just remember like as a kid growing up where I grew up thinking that like, you know, acting is not a realistic dream. It's not a realistic job. Writing books, writing is not a realistic career. I just really couldn't find anything else I wanted to do. And, you know, fast forward several years, I got a letter in the mail from a college in New York that was like, want to study film, want to learn about the industry. I applied. My parents drove me all the way to Kansas City, Missouri, which was, I don't know, was like a 13, 14, 15-hour drive where my aunt lived there at the time. And they were doing auditions for the school there. That was like the closest city. I went, I did 2 monologues, auditioned for the dean of the school. One of the monologues I did was Gollum and Smeagol from The Lord of the Rings, which, why did I choose that? I think I did one very like dramatic piece. Do you remember
the monologue? Like, could you give us like even a little piece of it, the gist of it? Because I could like
the Gollum and Smeagol.
Yeah, you know, like a little Gollum at least.
Yeah, hold on. Give me just a moment.
Get into it. I know your method.
It's been a while.
20 years.
We want it. We need it. Must have the precious. They stole it from us. Sneaky little hobbitses. Okay, I'm done. That's it. That's all I got.
That's all.
It's you know, it's been a minute.
On the floor. No, better than
I will say, I did one piece that was like a juvie character who's like obsessed with pyromaniacs, and then I did this because I was like, oh, I'll show my range that I can be like a serious dramatic actor, but I can also do voices, I can do physicality and character. And you want to know what the dean of the school told me after I did the Gollum and Smeagol monologue?
What? She
said, because apparently this is a thing people do. She said, normally I hate when people do that monologue. She had taken her glasses off and looked at me.
No, not the glasses. And the thing is, you could see with your glasses, but she took it off just to be dramatic. And that's how you knew that this this was a performing arts school.
Yep.
What did she say to you when she took her glasses off?
But when you did it, I didn't hate it.
Damn.
And I thought that was a pretty good compliment.
Look,
and I got accepted to the school.
I was going to assume that you got accepted to the school. This is beautiful. Look, and I we'll get more into this part of your journey, but I have to say, like, I'm so curious about like what inspired so much of your journey. But not only am I curious about it, I actually have another. It was weird, Derek. I have another video to show you. It's a thing.
Oh, hold on, Matt. Before we get too far away from Chantel, can I say something about real quick?
You can say something about Chantel, and the next
I mean, first
thing
of all,
too.
like love, and how sweet. And you'd asked sort of about my younger self and my journey, and I just wanted to comment a little bit on like coincidence and a little bit of like that piece before we move on
Give
too
it.
far.
I love some philosophy.
Because I had a moment in the car literally a couple days ago. I went to see a movie, and we were trying to get out of this very complicated parking situation at the movie theater in Topanga, and they like make it very confusing because you're like driving around in circles, and then there's exits and then there's entrances, but you can't exit. It's very annoying. And so my friend and I, as we were trying to leave, I was like, "Why has it got to be so complicated?" And then we, started singing the Avril Lavigne song.
Yes.
We're talking,
Love her.
we're driving down the road. All of a sudden, I notice on the radio, Avril Lavigne "Complicated" is playing, and
What?
my friend thought I had put the song on like Spotify or something, and I was like, no, this is just on the radio. I don't know, like it's one of those moments, as Chantel said, and these moments happen in life where you go, that's crazy, that's a coincidence. What is going on? Like depending on what you believe, is like, is this the universe speaking to me? Is this a God moment? Is this like what is going on? I always like to try to like be present in those moments, because I feel like what those moments tell me are, right now in your journey in life, you are exactly where you are supposed to be. And it really just gives me this assurance that everything that has happened in my life up until that moment, all of the ups and the downs, all of the sorrows, like the tragedies, like the hardships that we go through in life, have led me to this moment right now where I'm in the car with a friend, this thing was made, and this song comes on, and it really just feels like the universe, God, whatever you believe in. For me, I do believe in God. I don't necessarily believe in it the same way I did growing up. I think I believe in it in a more, interesting, nuanced way.
Mhm.
But it just sort of feels like a hug from the universe being like, you haven't made any wrong choices. Everything that has happened has led you to be here there, and like, appreciate what you have, appreciate where you are, appreciate the people around you. And it's just sort of reassurance moving forward that like, whenever I feel sort of like stuck on what should I do, what choice should I make, did I do that wrong, should I have handled that situation differently, at the end of the day, like, what really matters, like none of that stuff matters. It's sort of reassuring. And so anyway, that moment with Chantel just kind of like also reminded me of like, it's like, oh, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Wow. That's so beautiful.
And
And you might make me cry. And as Avril Lavigne says at the beginning of that song, uh, life's like this. And
yeah,
that's the way it is. It's so
and that
beautiful.
is the way it is.
Okay. I'm hitting play on something.
I'll let
Derek.
you go ahead.
Let me hit play. It's fine.
Let me get my popcorn.
Good.
Hey Derek, Elisa here, a patron for Rob Has a Podcast, and I hope that you have a very good Pod Friends episode with Matt, and also a happy belated birthday. I'm really happy that I was able to meet you last year, and I'm looking forward to the next time that we're able to link up again. And also thank you for everything that you do for Rob Has a Podcast. My one question for you is, what is the story, whether it's a video game, movie, TV show, book, or whatever, what's the story that inspired you to get into writing?
Elisa, shout out to Elisa with the question.
Elisa's wonderful.
Yes.
We love Elisa.
What
if you're in the San
inspired you to
Francisco
get into
area and you haven't connected with Elisa yet, get connected. Elisa's great. Does a lot of RHAP local community stuff out there. I mean, I had sort of mentioned earlier, like I read a Harry Potter and just fell in love with the universe, with the story. That's sort of what inspired me originally to start writing. I'm very much a fan of escaping reality, because reality can suck sometimes. So I love writing things that are a little bit fantastical, a little bit outside of our like the world that we live in. Escapism. Yeah.
That's interesting. It's interesting because like that's definitely a good way of summing up themes I'd see across a lot of the work that you've mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we're only at the tip of the iceberg of Derek's journey. I feel like we're picking it up right now. If we're going in somewhat of a chronological order, you're in New York, you're doing things. Well, by the way, Derek, I will say, and I definitely am oh, I know the name of it. I have to admit, I did not watch. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention this or if this is like from your back catalog of stuff. We're like, okay, I did not watch the RAs. your
Oh, it's hard to
series.
find, I think.
Probably, probably. I did watch an interview though that you did about the RAs, which is a series.
Okay.
I don't know if that was in the New York chapter of Life for You or where
Yes.
it was, but
That was like one of the first big things that I did. One of the first things that was like more than just, like shoot this one day short film.
what was it exactly? Was it like
It was a web series. It was, I think, 6 or 8 episodes. The character I played was the writer. Like he wrote it based on his college journey. He was a bit scandalous.
That's
There is an entire montage of my character hooking up with a bunch of random strangers. Which I definitely in the moment was like, oh my gosh, what is everybody back home gonna think about me? But you do it for the art, for the story, for the job. And it was a cool project. I met some great people, some that I still keep in touch with actually from that project.
Wow.
Did you have a question about that, or you just brought
Well,
it up?
no, I guess I'm just interested in because I didn't really know about like the New York part of your journey. I've heard the less
It was a
about
long
the
time
New York
ago.
part of your journey. It was, but like looking back, like what was that point in the road for you like? What was the importance of that? All that fun stuff.
I mean, New York was both like that was the first time I had really left Minnesota. It was arriving to New York, chasing my dreams. It was, opportunity. It was exciting.
That is so Midwest, by the way. I feel like, because I grew up in North Jersey, so and literally in a town where you see New York City's skyline like every single day. And I did not grow up in a way to appreciate the way that New York could represent opportunity and represent like hopes and dreams and freedom and all these other things.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it was like actually that for you.
Yeah, I mean, when I remember being in 6th grade. Again, I grew up in a very small town, and I've it's a few people have mentioned on this podcast, like my sort of like love for community and bringing people together, and that's really always been a part of who I am. It's always been a driving factor in how I sort of approach life. I'm sort of like, I don't care where I am or what I'm doing. I just want to do it with people that I love, people I feel comfortable around, and I sort of view my childhood of like, kindergarten to 6th grade of like me navigating this school of people trying to find my best friend and trying to find the people that I can hang out with and play video games with. And I felt like I tried every avenue and couldn't find it. I felt like very alone as a 12-year-old, living in the middle of nowhere. I had what I felt like was no friends, because I would invite people over to hang out. I would invite people to birthday parties. And I just remember at the end of the year, looking back at like my year as a 5th grader, my year as a 4th grader, going, I got invited to 0 birthday parties this year. And that's like rough. When all you care about is having friends, like that's a huge deal. And what it tells you is like, oh, those people, yeah, maybe they only had a birthday party for 2 friends. Maybe that's all that happened. And you try to like, me am like making excuses for like why I wasn't picked, why I wasn't chosen. But like my brain at the time said, well, those people don't really care about you. So go find friends who do care about you. And so that's like when I, joined the drama club and I met people who were like actually wanted to hang out with me and would invite me to game nights. And, I started to find that a little bit through like, as I got older through youth group events. Like I started meeting people who lived an hour, 2 hours away. And so a lot of my like later high school days was spending time with people who lived 2 hours away from me in Fargo, North Dakota.
Oh my gosh.
And so like kind of from 6th grade on, I sort of looked at the next 6 years of my life as 6 more years until you can graduate and get out of here, till you can go see the world. And so, yeah, I graduated high school, moved pretty much straight to New York. People are like, oh man, that must've been like such a culture shock. I was so prepared. I was so ready. I got to New York and I was like, I'm here, I'm home. I've made it. I'm chasing the dream. Like, I remember having like my 18-year-old Catholic self having a conversation with God, being like, God, this is crazy. This is what I want. And if you want this for my life, make it happen. And I will do it. I will never look back, and I will do it the right way. Right. And I mean, in some ways I've kept a lot of that, like, no turning back. Like I'm
Oh,
all in,
totally.
I'm here. But yeah, I felt very prepared for New York. I was very excited. I, was going to school. I was acting. I was learning how to audition, how to be, the business of acting. What's the difference between an agent and a casting director and a manager? And how do you get jobs? And how is acting on camera different than acting in a theater? Because it's very different. But at the same time, I was also like post-graduating, thrown into adult life. And a lot of my friends had decided to leave New York. Some of them moved to LA. And, you have to get actual jobs to pay for life now that you're out of college and all of your loans. And life got very hard. It got very lonely. New York was the hardest period of my life. Trying to be who you think you should be, versus also dealing with your own insecurities, becoming an adult, and really not feeling comfortable to talk to anybody about it. It was very lonely. So I left New York and moved to LA, and a little bit was like New York was becoming a bit of a depressive state for me. And so I felt like I needed to leave New York to like re-find my joy and my freedom. And I moved to LA New Year's Eve, 2011, going into 2012. And so it was very symbolic of like new year, new me, new city, new beginning. And that really sort of like began like probably like a 10-year chapter of my life of just like openness and exploration.
Wow. That's exciting. I love this. And I will just say, like, I think there's so much of what you're saying that's really relatable that I definitely relate to. And it's even just like this idea, this feeling of loneliness at times, which is so fascinating to me because people have used the phrase like loneliness epidemic nowadays, but like I just feel like it's so easy to feel lonely, and yet like everyone can feel lonely. Or to your point, I love what you said about the birthday parties where you're like, yeah, maybe they only had a couple people going to their birthday thing. Maybe they didn't have a birthday party. Like, I don't know. But that's like something that, it's like hard. It's hard being human. It's complicated.
It is.
It's also important. You're kind of a good example of like moving away from what's not working toward maybe even more, like moving toward your dreams, moving toward what will work for you.
Yeah. Life is too short, in my opinion, to like sit and wallow in something that's not working. Right. So it's like either deal with it and make a change.
Yeah.
And every situation is different. Not every situation is as easy as move. Right. Not every situation is as easy as get a new job. Right. Every situation is nuanced and different and difficult. But it's sort of like, what can I control? But yeah, I know for me, like, a lot of my views come down to you have one life here on this earth, unless you believe in reincarnation, and whether or not you believe in that doesn't change the fact that you may only have one life on this earth, in this body, in this mind. And we don't know how many days we have, but today is, when we're recording this, it's Friday, January 9th.
Yeah.
And I have one opportunity to live Friday, January 9th, 2026.
I have a friend who says this, like, it's the first and only time that it's Friday, January 9th, 2026. Like, that's it. Sometimes life takes you in weird directions. There are twists and turns. There are great people you meet along the way. Derek, it's so weird. I have another video right now from somebody. It's like so strange. Yeah, let's just watch.
I wasn't expecting so many videos.
Hey there, Matt and Derek. Hello, pod friends. I am one of the Lauras, Laura J, or Hey Laura on the Discord. And I am so excited to hear that Derek is going to be the subject of a pod friends episode, because I have wanted to know more about Derek. In fact, there was stuff I was going to ask him in San Francisco that I never got a chance to. So very excited to hear about his journey to being a part of RHAP and, just more about his background. Derek, you are awesome. I have always enjoyed talking to you, so I cannot wait to learn more. But I did have a question. I noticed quite a while ago that your Discord profile pic has those big balls from Wipeout on it. And I went and I did a little Googling, and you were on Wipeout. I want to hear this story. So please share. Can't wait to hear all about it. Can't wait to see the episode. And thank you for everything you do for our community. Love being a part of it with you.
Wipeout. You were on Wipeout. I almost forgot to ask about Wipeout at some point.
Yeah.
Where does this fall into your journey? Because I do feel like for a long time, like you were Derek from Wipeout, bouncing on the big red
The big balls.
balls. Yeah,
You can say big red balls. There's nothing
I
weird about
don't.
that.
Yeah, I know, but it's weird when like someone could clip it and then it's like
Yeah.
big red balls, big red balls, big red balls. You know,
That's okay. Please clip away. Clip away saying bouncing on big red balls. Why
bouncing on big red balls.
not?
How was that for you?
I need to address first one thing before we get to these big red balls, if that's okay, Matt.
This is your episode.
I've been getting a little emotional on each of these videos. And you asked me earlier, kind of, but we didn't really talk about it, sort of like what drives a person, your motivations. And, we've talked a lot about community. And I think that there's a part of me that, like, my entire childhood into adulthood, because I am always the person in the friend group that is like, hey guys, let's do something. Let's go to a movie. Let's do a game night. Let's do an escape room. Let's play Survivor in the backyard this weekend. I, as a kid, always assumed that people thought the same way about life and about relationships, and then just actively chose to exclude me.
Wow.
And then I think becoming an adult, you sort of realize that, oh, everyone actually thinks differently and not like you. And so all these people that maybe you once felt hurt by or mad at probably just are not community thoughtful driven people. And I was like, oh, most people don't really think about life and act upon it in the way that I do. Like, I'm a very proactive friend in my group of friends. And I really had to like come to terms as an adult of going, okay, you just need to get used to the fact that people are not like that, and that you should not expect people to reach out to you the same way that you reach out to them. And just like managing friendships with that in mind is hard. And a lot of my life, I really felt like people don't care about me, that I felt invisible. I felt like I have this group of incredible friends, and they are all best friends with each other, and they tolerate me because I host fun parties. Or they put up with me because they have to, or they're just being nice. And so a lot of my struggles in my like early adulthood, and really like there's still things that I have to deal with on a daily basis of, does that person actually care about me, or are they just putting up with me? And it's been really weird getting more and more involved in this RHAP community, because as I said, I was very much a wallflower for a long time. And it's weird now to like see a video from Chantel talking about how, I met you and how you stand out to me and you're great. And from Elisa and from Laura, and, like meeting people in the community who know me and like me, there's that part in the back of my brain that just says like, they're just saying that to be nice, or like, or it's surprising because I'm over here thinking, oh, I'm just invisible. I'm just a guy. No one really cares. No one really likes you. No one really thinks that you're funny. You're just another person. And that's sort of like, like we all deal with different demons.
Yeah.
We all deal with different insecurities. And I often say, I think that our insecurities are often tied to our superpower. Like
Yes.
I think that like I'm a very proactive, community-driven person, and I feel like that also I'm very insecure about my own place in community, and I think they often go hand in hand. So,
Derek, I'm gonna actually cut you off right now. We're gonna come back to Wipeout and the big red balls, but I have another video to show you. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Kelly. I'm a patron in Los Angeles, and I have been a patron since 2020. I met Derek almost a year ago at a Bryson One event out here. And I did not know anybody when I showed up. Derek had posted in the Discord that he would be there, and I recognized his name. So I started hanging out with him, and it was hands down a top 5 decision that I made in 2025. Derek is so warm and so inviting, and he has this socialness about him that isn't just about him interacting with people. He loves to step out and like foster those connections with other people. My experience in the community has just blown up since I met him, because he is so amazing at making sure that you have as many connections as you possibly can. So I would love to know from Derek, is that a skill that you've always had, or is that something that you've really like fostered throughout your life?
Kelly asked
I
about
love
your skills in
Kelly.
the community. So we're piling up questions here.
Yeah.
Some mention of Wipeout, and then this question about community. You can see what's happening here, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's very sweet. I love Kelly. She was here last night. We did a little like mini Traders watch party, and she came over, and she's great. I love her. No, I mean, I feel like I sort of just said it. I think like I know what it's like to feel like someone who is ignored or overlooked or thought of as weird or different. And I have grown up to embrace being weird and being different and being quirky. And I don't want anyone to feel that way. If I'm in a room with someone and they feel awkward because they don't know who to talk to or they don't know anyone, I feel like it's my responsibility to try to help make sure that person feels included, that they feel seen, that they feel cared about. I think that, yeah, I don't know where I come from. A lot of the word weird, that person's weird. That person's
Yeah.
weird. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of my friends were people who were like a little alternative, a little different. And then you hear like someone you care about be like, oh, they're just weird. I'm like, does that
Yeah.
make me like, how do you see me? Like,
Everyone's weird. It's just all who's looking and what perspective and what lens
it's
it's
all
through.
perspective. And it's also like,
It
well,
really
it's,
is.
yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like, you know, I, not to like throw it back to like Christianity again, but like, you know, like there are things that I learned growing up that I thought were beautiful, you know, like the fact that
Yeah.
like we're all created in God's image, we're all different, we're all this mosaic of humanity where everyone comes from a different place, a different experience. We all have you know, different ideas of what life can offer. And you know, we can either move through life just living within the bubble of what we think around people that think similarly, or if you believe in this idea of God and that we're all created uniquely different and that we're all created in God's image, then don't we all have something beautiful to offer the world? And should you not want to learn more about all the different complexities of the world? And
Well,
doesn't that teach us more about the universe and whatever else is this meaning of life? I don't know. That's how I see
no,
it.
yeah, and just to add to that, like as someone who is not religious but definitely grew up with that influence for sure, like exactly what you said is what I took away, and definitely like something I talk about or think about sometimes is like that informed the person I am now and how I show up, even if that doesn't have the religious bent
Yeah.
to it. So there's
Mhm.
something there. But you know, I think what's you mentioned like being weird, and I do feel like in looking at your journey with New York, looking at LA, a lot of people who we as fans or listeners on reality TV or of reality TV or of Rob as a podcast like look to or watch or comment on or whatever. Like they're people who just aren't afraid to be weird. They're not
Yeah.
afraid to put themselves out there. They're not afraid to bounce on some big red balls once in a while. Derek,
Yeah.
what was your
Or
white
Rap Hamilton.
or Rap Hamilton? Wait, what?
Shout
Wait,
out
I need to
Shannon.
go back. Could you please like explain to me? Because I when I first like encountered you through RHAP, I remember your profile picture being
Hmm.
this Wipeout thing, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Who is this celebrity from Wipeout?" And where was that on your journey, timeline wise?
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming it's the
Um,
LA chapter.
Yes. I believe that was 2014, 2014 or
Mm,
2015. So it's been a while. Um, so as I had mentioned at one point briefly, I worked in and out of casting for about 10 years. Part of our program in
yeah.
college was to do internships in the industry. So I had interned with a bunch of casting directors, mostly like to learn about the process and then also meet casting directors who hopefully could maybe put me in a movie one day and make me famous and successful. That didn't quite happen, but I met
Debatable.
I met a wonderful casting director who then gave me a job. I worked on the show Chopped for 15 seasons, casting chefs, going to
Hmm.
restaurants, walking in and asking to speak to the manager, walking in
Oh,
asking to speak to the chef, getting on the phone, cold calling restaurants in Atlanta, cold calling restaurants all over the country, asking for chefs to apply to be on Chopped. Um, I moved to LA and I sort of tripped and fell into another casting job. And what I learned working at reality TV is that, or in casting for like game shows, is that
hmm,
they need to interview about 4 times as many people as that they need to cast at minimum.
interesting.
So when we did Chopped, we cast 3 seasons at a time back to back because they were like 13 episode seasons, and it really aired almost like a Wheel of Fortune style. Like it was like every week they're airing new episodes, airing new chefs, and so they're casting around 140 chefs every casting session, meaning we needed to interview around 400 or so people.
Dear Lord.
So it was very much a numbers game, and you sort of like start to look at like, okay, we have 100 submissions. 90 of these submissions are honestly just boring white guys,
Hmm.
and then we have 10 submissions of people who are not just a white guy in a suit in a chef
Mm.
coat. And then you sort of you just like looking at the numbers of it. I'm like, okay, Wipeout casts 24 people every episode, and they do
Every episode.
20 plus episodes in a season, and they're at that point at the time when
Whew.
I walked into the office, the cast Wipeout, because I was auditioning for a show that was like Power Rangers esque, and they had Wipeout playing on TV. They had Wipeout posters on the wall, and I'm sitting there going, "Well, I love Wipeout. I've watched that show,"
Uh-huh.
and then my casting brain is going, they're on season 7, which means they've cast hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of contestants on the show. They only cast locally, which means they're probably desperate for anybody interesting to walk through the door. And so I was like, all I have to do is just go in there and be a bit crazy, a bit interesting, and I have a good shot of getting on. I submitted like online application
Hmm.
that day. When I got home, I got a call. I went in.
Wow.
It was like a 2-minute audition where I went in and I was like, I'm from Minnesota and I'm a Christian and I've been single my whole life. I've never been in a relationship and I love Taylor Swift. And like that was and I was like, I love chocolate and candy and sweets and desserts. And I was like went in like hitting like 3 narratives. And they cast me, they put me on the blind date episode, which was a 2-hour special, which meant most shows did 4 rounds. Our show did 6 rounds. So we got to do all of the obstacles. So I was like, this is great. I the more the merrier. How lucky am I? And I got paired with a girl from Orange County who was training to be a firefighter and was a college rower. And from someone who had seen the show before and had watched different episodes of couples competing, the way it wasn't look, I think that Wipeout could use some upgrades in terms of how they structure their competition. But from someone who studied the episode, I looked around and I went, man, all I have to do is be competent because this girl would win the episode by herself. She is so
Mm.
tough and so strong. I'm lucky to be her partner. I just need to keep up with her. And
Yeah.
and then I was like, we're golden. And I spent the first we shot for 3 days. The first day was the opening Wipeout course, and then the second qualifier round or whatever. And the whole time I'm backstage throwing like, oh, that guy looks really good. Oh, that team looks really
Mm.
strong. Just trying to deflect from anyone coming at our team, just in case like there's ever an opportunity on the course for anyone to like
Strategy.
strategy. I was getting into the strategy of it. they sit down and they show you the obstacle beforehand, either on TV or they take you and put it out in person, and they sort of go through each obstacle and say, okay, here are the rules for this course. This is, you'll get a penalty if you do X, Y, Z. So they really want you to do the course the way they designed it, or you get penalized. And so then I would sit down with my partner and be like, okay, so here's the strategy of this course. Don't worry about completing it. Just go as fast as you can. And then when you wipe out, just move on. We just got to keep moving. Or it'd be like, all right, so here's the strategy of this one. You got to be patient because you have to complete it. And this is how to complete it. Stay calm and keep a good head. And, as a gamer, as someone who's played a lot of Mario games, I feel like I know how to time my jumps. And this was like me putting into practice my gaming experience, watching Survivor, playing Super Mario, Amazing Race, all those different shows. I got to like take and put it into practice. And it was the most fun thing I've ever done in my life, still to this day. It was so hard getting knocked off of an obstacle into a pool of mud and then swimming through the mud and then doing that. Like our Wipeout course started with a mud pit. And then what you don't realize is you're wearing all of this gear and now you weigh like 80 pounds more and you're trying to move and you're exhausted and you still have 4 more obstacles to run through. So if anyone watches this episode, you're going to see that I look exhausted. And the mud gets in your eyes and you literally people would come back and they would pull their eyelids down. There'd be gravel in their eyelids.
Oh my, what?
That was the worst part. The mud was the worst part.
Wow. Oh, no. I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you're okay now.
I was fine. I didn't get any injuries. It was, obviously, we did well. Spoiler alert. We won our episode.
Click away. There we go.
Yeah. And it was very fun. Helped pay off all my student loans. So yeah, I was like, man, here I am, 24 years old. What do I have to show to my name? 0 student loans, 0 debt, a Wipeout championship under my belt. College was not a waste of time for me.
This is interesting, though. It's like because they're obviously like when people are fans of reality TV and especially the competition reality TV shows, like Derek, there's no, like, I could not count the number of people I know who want to be on Survivor, Big Brother, Traitors, a million different shows. And yet a lot of people don't go for it, but it sounds like you had a really great experience doing that with Wipeout.
Yeah, I'm very grateful for the experience. I'm obviously so happy about how it worked out. Yeah, I mean, you never know. Like I've applied for other shows and have not gotten on. I've auditioned for big projects and not gotten cast. A lot of my journey of 14 years trying to be an artist is not getting the job. And this is one of those rare stories of like it really just worked out, and it worked out really well. And there's other things I would much rather do, but that was a great time. It was a great story.
I am curious, like, what are some of because I want to get to your RHAP days, but there's so much like else in there. What have been some of the other highlights in your LA journey, whether like professionally or personally, or what jumps out for you?
I guess I don't really have any other like specific things. Like I wrote and produced a web series around the same time I did Wipeout. It was like me and a friend were sitting around talking about wanting to do something. And we really just like put a bunch of friends together. And within 6 months, we wrote an 8-episode series, cast it, raised money for it, shot it, and released the first episode. Like we came up with that concept in April. We released our first episode in October. And you can find that online. It's called The Walking Ted. It's a really stupid, ridiculous comedy, kind of dark comedy about a zombie teddy bear. This woman who sort of comes across him, and he becomes a bit like a guard dog for her as she's navigating life and relationships. Looking back at what we did on that, like I'm proud of it in some senses. I learned a lot. The first shot of me in the zombie teddy bear makeup is like you see a very hard makeup line on my neck, and it's sort of like, wow, that's the first shot, and this looks dumpy. But
Right.
sometimes you just got to do stuff, and you got to play around, and you never know where that's going to lead to. But otherwise,
Yeah.
I'm just trucking along. It's been a lot of try and fail, try and fail, try and fail, and then I've always been a Survivor fan my whole life. I've watched every season live since season 1, Survivor, Big Brother, The Amazing Race, like those core 3. And I don't know how I found RHAP. I started listening to the podcasts, and heard Rob at one point talking about looking to hire somebody to help as like an assistant. And at the time I was listening, I think it was on a Rob and Akiva podcast, and I was listening to it because I was working at an ice cream shop. Because I was in casting for a long time, and it was not something I wanted to do. They did not pay me well. They made me work way, 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 way too many hours, and did not pay me for the time and the passion and the effort I was putting into it.
Right.
And there was a day where I was supposed to have the day off because I had some creative stuff going on in my life, and they needed to hire me for multiple castings that were happening in the same day. And I gave them the time that I could, and the day did not go perfectly. And the owner of the company blamed it on me rather than taking responsibility for the things that she should be accountable for. Like they didn't give me the resources that I needed to be able to do a good job. And I'm like trying to like go audition for a callback for a project that's like could be really big. And at the same time, I'm trying to go like find a cord for a camera because they didn't have it.
Right.
Long story short, I got let go from that job. And it was a huge blessing in disguise because it freed me up. And I was really trying to get out of casting anyway, but it freed me up to be able to start taking on more part-time work, to give myself a more flexible schedule so that, if I do book something, I don't have to go through this again. So I was listening to this podcast that Rob was, talking about needing help. And I emailed him and I said, hey, I work in the industry. I've worked in catering, I've worked on red carpet events, I've worked with celebrities, I've worked in casting, I've worked with reality TV, I've worked on production, like whatever you need, I would love to help. And I he responded, I went in for a little interview, and that's how it all got started. That was end of April, early May 2019.
Oh my gosh.
Started as an assistant, helping with, little bits, whatever here and there. And my job is sort of shifted throughout the years, but
yeah, I will say look at this though. Where you are now.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah. Community patron experience.
Community
stuff,
guy,
all sorts of things.
Which is what I love. It's like a lot of my favorite things, which is people and Survivor and games and community.
It's what you're amazing at. And I'll also just say, I love that story because you never know, like, whether something is good luck or bad luck, or, sometimes there are these moments that like push you out of the nest in life, or push you out of, I don't even want to say a comfort zone, but like push you toward where you want to go, even if it's not the push that you want. Like, I think most of us don't love being pushed. But it's sometimes it's needed and helpful. And here you are. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And speaking of beautiful things, I have another video. It's so weird.
I hope these never end.
They will eventually.
Hey Derek, it's Michael Horn here, TGIM, since I'm recording this on a Monday. I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you do for us RHAP patrons. When I went to my first live show, I was so nervous because I was going alone the first night and didn't really know anyone yet. But as soon as I saw you, you were one of the first people that I saw there. And I just immediately felt so at home. I felt so welcomed. And I can't thank you enough for that. It meant so much to me. And ever since then, it has really impacted the way that I want to get involved in this community. You are just such a ray of sunshine in this community, and I love our Swifty chats. Had so much fun during the Jackbox party pack game night, or whatever we called it, and I just am so grateful for your friendship. So I do have a question for you. Do you have a favorite moment or memory from a patron activity that you were a part of or helped to plan? I am so excited for all the upcoming events and activities to come in 2026, and I can't wait to talk to you soon. Bye, Derek.
And let's watch another video too that I think is like related. So,
okay.
Hey, Derek, it's your friend Tommy Guam sending you so much love. Just here to say how much I appreciate everything you do for the community. I love the Patron podcast that you do. The Patron Pulse is amazing. If you haven't listened to it, please go listen to it. Love everything you do for the live shows and how much you get around to everybody and make everybody feel very welcome. There's not many people in this community that are more loving and more sincere than you are, Derek, and I always look forward to seeing you. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you, and I'm happy to call you my friend. Just one question about the RHAP community for you. How can the old patrons and the new patrons integrate themselves better? Thank you very much. I'll hang up and listen now.
So Michael Horn, Tommy
Yeah.
Guam, and their questions, one, are about like, I kind of look at them as like two sides of an interesting coin. Michael really being about like highlight experiences you've had so far, and then Tommy really talking about ways that, you know, you can evolve, you want to evolve the community and make it even better. He talks about like, you know, bring together older and newer patrons. And I love that we always have newer patrons. I love meeting the newer patrons at live events and just seeing RHAP grow. But you heard it all, Derek. I'm just gonna stop talking. This is fun. And sorry for emotionally exhaust. Actually, I'm not sorry for emotionally exhausting you along the way. I took back my apology.
Yeah, I love it. This is great. Michael's question first. Favorite moment or event. There's so many. It's really hard to pick. But there was a time where Grace and I was doing some more experimental RHAP game nights, a year ago or so, maybe more. Probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And Big Brother Canada had done this like murder mystery movie twist one week, and Grace and I were like, let's do that as a game night. And we sort of like took the format that they did for that 1 week twist, and we made like an entire online ORG based on winning a competition and sort of casting the roles of a movie, and then having a monster murder someone. And it was a lot of work. It was, you know, so there were some things about it that worked well. There was, you know, some things about it that like needed some tweaking, but I've always loved hosting like unique game nights. I hosted a Big Brother night with like my friends in high school, like my drama club people, and I created a Big Brother-esque reality game called Party Animals in my, you know, like early days, where like me and friends, we actually filmed 3 seasons of this like at home LRG essentially, where it was just a game night, but you had to compete in these games and you had to win a spot to come back in the next game night. And it was fun, like forcing my friends to do these weird, fun, crazy things. So I've always loved that. And so that moment definitely sticks out for me, because it was like, oh, I got to make this really cool game. And I would love to do more of that stuff. It's sort of like just like trying to figure out where our time is best set. And you know, if it's going to take 12 hours for me to like come up with how this game works, is that the best use for my time, or is it, you know, better spent elsewhere? So I have some ideas.
I was going to say it ties in a bit with Tommy's question, or what you're saying ties in with this question, and you're just getting to it naturally. But like, I'm mentioning you have ideas. What? I don't know how much you can share.
I always have ideas of things that
you're
I
full of
do.
ideas.
It's a matter of figuring out, like, well, again, what's the best use of time and resources. And I think Tommy's question about like how to get involved is a great question. And I think that the tricky part about how big our community has grown is that, you know, like there's people who've been around for a long time that are going, yeah, I miss how it used to be. And I know what that's like, because like the first community of friends that I joined, which was like an artist, it was like a spiritual artist community when I first moved to LA. And we would meet, like hang out every Thursday, and it was like 10 of us. And a year later it was 50. And a year later it was 80. And,
oh my gosh.
And every year people are like, oh, I miss how this was a year ago when it was 20 of us and we could all hang out. And you know, like the good and the bad thing about having a fun, accepting community is more people want to be a part of that. And we want more people to be a part of it because we want it to become more exciting. We want to go to bigger live shows. We want more recognition on Rob so that he gets invited to do more shows. The downside is that it does become harder to get involved, to know where to go, to how, like, you know, how do we bring back that like small group vibe? And it's a struggle every day to figure out how to do that. But I say, if you have an idea of how you want to be more involved, if you want to start a game night group, if you want to, we have a book club that started because someone wanted to do a book club. And I said, great, we'll spread the word. You tell us what you need. You're in charge. You're going to run it. And Autumn has done great. That book club has, you know, they've been going strong. And they've kind of developed their own community within the community, much like the Blood on the Clock Tower community has developed a community within the community. So, you know, it doesn't always have to be around games. It doesn't have to be around books. You could literally start a club that's like, hey, this club is only for people over 40 years old. And we're just going to have coffee together every Monday, at, you know, or, you know, maybe every Friday, let's do a TGIF. Let's all just get online on Discord and let's just like talk. Let's just hang out. So I would say the ideas are endless. It's just a matter of like, you know, needing someone to sort of like come forward and be like, hey, Derek, here's an idea I have. I want to support you in that idea and helping sort of like grow and build the community. So the best ways to get involved is to just reach out. Just reach out and say, hey, I have an idea. Maybe I can't lead it, but I need to meet someone else who can help me. Or like, hey, I live in Ohio. Is there anyone else from Ohio? And maybe someone else will reach out. You know, these are things that I can help put out into the universe and to help you guys get more plugged in the way that you want to be plugged in. So use me as a resource. Reach out to me. If you're new and you're nervous about coming to an event, like what Michael said, reach out. You know, I'm only one person and I can only say hi to so many people at every event. So come say hi to me, reach out, say, hey, I'm nervous. Where can I meet you when I show up? And I will wait at the door for you to show up. I will say hi. I will greet you and I will introduce you to someone cool that you can talk to. So just reach out, be a little proactive and we can make magic happen.
Derek, you're so great. Like
you're great.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I mean, you're great in that, like, you really mean it. You know what I mean? Like, you really mean it. And you don't just talk about being there and showing up for people, but you actually do it. Like, you talk with everybody at these RHAP events, which, like, you know, I know that's like part of what you do, but like just the ability to actually have so many people feel connected with you. I'm sure there are probably like, I was going to say dozens of other people, but honestly, Derek, there might be like hundreds of other people at this point who I could have reached out to for videos that would submit something and share something with me about you and appreciating you, whether that's a firsthand experience in person, whether it's something virtually with one of the game nights or book clubs or otherwise. And so I just really appreciate it. And I'm glad that you're getting your flowers. And I just want to give a few more minutes for some more flowers. We have a few more videos from people. I'm just going to hit play on them. Why not? You know, and you could sob during this point. Let's just hit play on this one.
Hey, Derek. So I hear you're going to be filming Pod Friends with Matt Scott.
Yeah,
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I just wanted to take a moment just to say thank you for everything that you've done for Rob Has a Podcast. So glad I've gotten to know you over the last couple of years. Your hard work goes noticed, just in case you weren't aware. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate everything you've done for the community. And I'm so excited that I get to hear you on Pod Friends. As Matt Scott knows, it's one of my favorite podcasts. So I'm really, really excited. And I wish you all the best of luck. And I just can't wait to see what more you have to offer. And keep up your really hard work. You truly are appreciated. And even though you don't realize it, you are appreciated by most of us or all of us. But thanks again. And can't wait to see you at the next live event. Bye.
Hello from What Up, Tim and Kim.
Hey, Derek. Hey, I just wanted to wish you Happy New Year and also to thank you for all that you do for this group. We love and appreciate you. Know that all your hard work doesn't go unnoticed, okay? You're doing great.
And Rob couldn't have picked a better person to be the face for the patrons. You know, you have no idea how much you mean to both of us than the first time we were there and how welcome you made us feel, which in turn has allowed us to continue on with everything and spread the love. Love you. Can't wait to see you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Oh.
Hi, my name's Mike Tamura. I first met Rob way back in December 2009 at a Survivor Samoa watch party where he said he was thinking of starting a Survivor podcast. So excited. I've been a day one RHAP fan and a patron since the start. I was excited when Matt told me that Derek would be on Pod Friends and asked if I'd make this video. We are recent friends as I first met Derek last March at Bryson Wendell's LA Survivor 48
Same one that
watch
Kelly
party.
was at.
And in July, we were both at Ethan Zahn's San Diego FC Pro Soccer Game event. In September, Derek was checking tickets at Bryson Wendell's LA Survivor 49 premiere watch party, and the next night at Kat Dunn's Amazing Race 38 premiere watch party. I'm very thankful for what you did for me, Derek. Most recently in November, Derek helped me learn how to use Discord for the first time and to sign up for a lot of fun events before RHP Live in San Francisco. After the RHP Live show, I was walking up a steep hill by myself, and it was sort of drizzling, walking up to the after party, and a car pulls up next to me, which scared me at first, and then Rob rolls down the window and tells me Derek, who was driving, told Rob, "We have to pick up Mike." Now, that's a great pod friend. Looking forward to your episode, Derek.
I really love that. And I just want to say shout out to Lisa and Mike, especially and Tim and Kim, who are amazing, but Lisa and Mike, who were literally like so sick and still made videos and submitted them. So just appreciation for that. Derek, I know it's a lot. I'm like getting a little choked up too. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about, having this feeling of sort of being inconsequential or invisible for so long. Anytime that someone sees you, it's a special feeling. And so thank you to all the messages. I feel really seen. I feel really cared for. And they say nothing in this life is selfless, and everything I do is because it brings me joy. It brings me joy to help people, to connect with people. I love learning people's stories, and I feel like every live event, I don't have enough time to talk to all the people that I want to speak to, that I want to meet. I feel like I only know, just surface level glimpses of the lives of all of these people that I've met and that I find fascinating and loving and caring and kind and wonderful. And after every live event, I'm like, I need another week to hang out and to get to know these people, and to, I love doing life with everyone. So, like I'm hearing this and I'm like already like looking into the future at like the next live event, being like, oh, there's going to be someone there who like wanted to say hi to me that didn't get to, because these things go by so fast and they're all so busy. But I appreciate this community so much. And yeah, this was so nice. This was so lovely.
No, and I'm so thankful for everyone who submitted videos in response to me reaching out, because I literally was not sure if anyone would do it, or like if the timing of reaching out this week to have it all. So just like so impressed with and thankful for that, but also just with what you shared. Just then, like, I relate so much to what you're saying, and like obviously I love and adore you, Derek, and it's just like what you said, that we get these glimpses into people's lives. And I'm so thankful that like even through Pod Friends, but through the RHAP community and everything that you do, and also through everything that I do, like people could get to know us even more. And maybe they do only have a chance at times to share like a glimpse into their lives and who they are. But like, I know that I'm sure that you definitely feel seen after a lot of this, but and I know I often feel seen by folks through all the podcasting and things, but I'm just like thankful that this could actually be a community. I have like 2 more questions for you. Yes. One of them just being like, any words for Robert Sesternino? as it relates to all of this. I like to remember to like try to give him his flowers as the
Oh my
Rob
gosh,
behind Rob
of
has a
course.
podcast.
They say a lot of times in production in Hollywood, right? The person, like whether you're on a very stressful set where everyone's on edge, or you're on a very like smooth operating set where everyone feels like they get to do what they love and they're not being micromanaged. See, people aren't breathing down their necks or telling them everything that they're doing is wrong. It all comes down from who is at the top, because whoever's at the top is distributing the energy of encouragement and love and support, or they are, you know, judging. They are you know, being unkind, hateful. And I think like you can look at any workplace, any community, and you can see I think the health of it comes from who's at the top. And I think the way that Rob speaks to people, I think the way that he encourages people, the way that he sort of like has created this community to be a safe space where we are as kind and as encouraging and as inclusive as possible, is I think the reason why this community is the way that it is, and why there's so many wonderful people here. And the people that are problems don't stick around for very long, because we make it very clear, like, that is not okay here. And then they either change how they operate, or they go and be a part of a different community that maybe appreciates their grittiness a little more, you know?
I've been told I have a way of like saying a thing in a very soft, gentle way. That's a really gentle way of putting that. Their grittiness could shine elsewhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's so kind.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's all because that's where Rob's heart is, and that's what he cares about. And so, like, like you and I would not be able to do what we were doing if it were not for Rob. And I just had a conversation with Rob this week, and I said, I have a lot of crazy ideas. Some might be good, some might be terrible. So I asked Rob, I was like, hey, could I maybe produce a show on my own terms, on my own time, and just see how it goes. And so there is something that I'm working on that is a little bit more community focused, and also a little bit gamified. But
damn, I thought you were saying I thought you were just gonna say gay, and I'm like, oh, but gamified is great. We love games.
Yes, we love gays. We love games. You know, Rob said, sure, give it a go. Like, he is a supportive, wonderful boss, a friend. I have nothing but respect and praise and nice things to say about Rob. But I guess that's a little bit of a plug for something coming in the future that I don't know necessarily what exactly it's going to look like or when it's going to happen. But I think that my vision is I would love to have a space, whether it's weekly, monthly, quarterly, that like the patrons can get together for some sort of like fun event that involves like the viewers interacting with the viewers, games that you can play, ways to like bring people from the audience into the show, but also have moments where we can, like, almost like a talk show, sit down and have like a little bit more of like an in-depth conversation with someone, get to know the patrons a little bit more. I sort of see this as like a patron-driven community activity event. And in order for it to be successful, I think we need like people to be able to show up. And so keep an eye out for that. I think it's going to be a fun time, hopefully. But it's only going to be good if people show up and want to be involved. So if that's something that sounds fun to you, keep an eye out, keep an ear out. Or let me know if you want to do other things, because I want to help create more like fun events and opportunities, whether it's online or in person, for people to get involved. And that was a little bit of a stray from the Rob question. But what's your next question, Matt?
No, I mean, well, first of all, I feel like I have a great name for what you want to do. Pod Friends. But it goes back to you stealing my job. It's all good.
No, Pod Friends is not going anywhere. Pod Friends is, I couldn't touch it.
You heard it here, folks. Just come back to this timestamp when Derek becomes the host of Pod Friends. And completely joking, I love that. And I love that we're, look, I think we need more space for community and coming together in games, and I want to plug into that as much as possible. Really, my last like official question, the question I always ask is, Derek, like, if your life were a book or documentary, what would the title be and why?
Oh, I have such a hard time naming things. I should have been more prepared for this because
Snatched.
Yeah.
The RAs.
I have some. Okay, I'm gonna go with this because it's something that I also say often.
Oh, that was quick. Good job. I didn't know the title yet, but
the title
that quickly.
You might hate it. Making the most of the mundane.
Okay, I love that.
Because most of life is mundane. You wake up, you make your coffee, you go to work, you do the routines, you get your oil change, you got to get your groceries. You have that movie you want to see, but like, how can we make the most of these mundane moments in life? Like what can I do today to make today more memorable? What can I do to this weekend to, and it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be extravagant, but, it's different for each person, but that's something I often ask myself when I look at my life is this week just another week? Is it mundane and am I okay with that? And if not, like, what can I do to change it? And sometimes it's okay to just have a mundane week and you just want to relax and binge watch some TV, because we need that too. But I try to make the most of every moment because life is so short.
Oh, this is deep.
It's so short.
Derek,
yeah.
I know this conversation could go on forever, but as we wrap this up, no, I don't want you to wrap. But what do you have to say to the listeners?
Thank you for listening. In my mind, there's like 12 people listening to this podcast. So,
more than that.
Everyone who's listening, thank you for supporting, for listening, for being a part of what we're doing. And say hi, leave a comment. I'm going to look at them. I want to know who's out there, and reach out to me if you want to do something, if you want to get involved, if you have ideas. I want to help grow the patron community, not even necessarily like making it bigger, but just like making it more accessible for people who want to be a part of that. So that's it. Live your dreams, do something today to make yourself happy. And reach out to a friend and tell them that you appreciate them.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning into this very special episode of RHAP as a podcast. I just want to give a special shout out and so much love to not only Derek, but to others behind the scenes at RHAP who have brought this show to life over the last 5 years. That includes Sam Moore, who was on the last season of Pod Friends a year ago. So much love for Sam. That includes Scott St. Pierre. That includes Brandon Donlin. I don't want to leave anyone out. Of course, want to give a massive shout out to Rob Cesarino. Rob, I love you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity to have this podcast, to do this. You are the biggest winner in my book, and I'm a winner in life because of you. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for being at the heart of Pod Friends and at the heart of what makes RHAP as a podcast so special. And thank you for being a pod friend.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.